I got a little ahead of myself. Okay. They say you don't call on Google Hangouts, you don't speed into the mic, you don't go respond to those work emails, and you don't mess around with Jim.
Yeah, we may have to update this because I think most of the people now who watch our show have no idea what some of those references are anymore. But
No, but it's good. We got to keep them there so that we remind ourselves of how things messed up in the past.
See, we don't learn from history unless, or else it's doomed to. You know what? You know what I meant.
We're doomed to repeat ourselves. Something. Dark side.
Repeat ourselves. Something. The dark side. Anyway, welcome back to the Turntable, guys. Episode 16. We've got a really great collection of albums for you today with a really great panel. Let's start off with bringing on Payson Johnson.
Yo.
Hey, buddy. How you doing?
Doing well. I think some people might know if they saw a few episodes back, I was supposed to be on it and couldn't make it. Really excited to be on this week. I'm just going to preface, I'm very much a music normie, so I'm going to try to exemplify my thoughts about music in general, but I'm very happy to be on tonight. Talk about an album I liked even more than the last one I was supposed to bring on, so excited.
Interesting. Well, speaking of which, what did you bring onto the table today?
I brought Talking Heads Speaking in Tongues.
Excellent. And let's bring in Melissa. Melissa, it's so good to have you again. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me. Feels like it's been 84 years since I've been on. But
yeah, it has been a while. I remember the last time you were on, we had a lively discussion with Andy. Some great albums that episode. But what did you bring for us this episode?
I brought Bjork Post.
Nice. I got really excited when you put that one in the chat, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
And let's bring on everyone's favorite, Bill Carriola. Bill, how you doing, my friend?
Always last.
But always first in our hearts.
Maybe rectums, I don't know, but whatever. It's totally okay. So,
see, this is why we always put you last.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. All right.
What you bring to the table for us today, buddy?
Oh my God, I got a visual aid for this one. I dug it out of storage. I brought this gem, which is Jawbreaker's 24-hour revenge therapy. Kids, ask your parents or your grandparents what a CD was.
So, Brooklyn, what did you bring today?
I broke the emergency glass. We brought out Barenaked Ladies, their fourth studio album, Stunt.
And I brought on Sold Out, the deluxe edition by Jhene Aioko. This deluxe version is the same version as the original version, though it's fine. But we are going to be starting with Bill. Bill, please tell us more about 24-hour revenge therapy.
Okay. I did a lot of prep for this because this is a favorite band of mine, and the lore is deep, so it's time for backstory. So this band formed in New York in the late 80s, recorded one album together called Unfun, which is a super fun pop punk record, immediately broke up, moved out west, got back together, kind of moved into like the San Francisco East Bay scene, put out Bivouac, which is a whole other conversation because it is a very strange album. And this story kind of picks up between the recording of that and when they go to record this album that we're talking about today. And so you've all listened to this album, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So you know what everything sounds like, right? So I'm going to play you a single that they put out for a 7-inch. Ask your grandparents what a 7-inch was. This is the last thing they recorded before they recorded this album. And I need to stress this enough. This is the same singer. They're playing a show one night, and his voice just completely stops working, gives out completely. He goes to a doctor. They find a polyp on his vocal cord the size of a grape.
Jeez.
Yes. So they're like, this is going to require surgery. It's going to be a whole mess. And they decide, okay, well, we have a tour coming up in Europe, and we're supposed to do all this other stuff. So let's just have our roadie learn the words and just perform. And he can't. He does one show, doesn't remember everything. So the lead singer, Blake Schwarzenbach, decides to just gargle cognac by the bottle for weeks to try to pain it out to just be able to play these shows. As they're touring through Europe, they're in Ireland, and he coughs up a bloody glob the size of his fist. So naturally, they're like, you got to go right now. They had to put him on a plane. They sent him over to London, $2,500. They remove it. Everything's fine. He's got to spend 10 days not drinking water or drinking anything and not talking. So, and if you want all the details about that, that's one of the songs in this album. So we're going to get there. I think he waited 5 or 6, and the first show back, he noticed his voice is 2 octaves higher and completely different. So it really kind of fucked with his head a little bit. And while they're hammering out these songs and they're starting to practice this stuff together, they get a phone call from this talent agent, and he says, hey, this band, The Wipers, they just fired the bassist on stage in the middle of a show in Europe. So they are no longer a band. We need you to fill in, and you were handpicked by Kurt Cobain to do 6 dates with Nirvana. And they were like, wait, what? And they're like, apparently Kurt Cobain's just the hugest fan of you guys, and he wants you to play. So they're like, okay, we'll go and do it. So they end up playing for 6 shows. And it's great. So there's actually a great documentary, if you want, all about this band called Don't Break Down, because spoiler alert, it gets bad. So they talk a lot about this moment in their life, and they are like this broke punk band performing with the biggest band on the planet Earth at the time. And they had to park their broken down van next to 8 tour buses that were like living quarters and everything. And they're like, this is embarrassing. And they said their first set, they were just like super scared. But as they get off stage, Kurt Cobain was just hanging out, listening to them play, asking if they were going to play songs from like certain albums. And it was a big deal. But because these guys were a punk band, they were immediately like rumors of just them selling out. And it became a whole thing because that was how punk was back then. It is a long story. So they are finally in a position, because they pulled enough money together from actually playing those 6 dates that they could record this album. So they went to Steve Albini, and which is pretty great, because here's how they did it. And this is before the internet. They just got his number from information and just called him at home and said, hey, we want to like do our album. And he's like, sure. And he's interviewed in the documentary too. And there's a great bit where he doesn't know the band Jawbreaker. He thinks they're the post-hardcore band from DC Jawbox. It's hilarious. And they're interviewing Steve Albini in the movie, and he's talking, and there's like a minute where he's like not saying anything. He's like, we are talking about Jawbreaker, not Jawbox, though, right? And they're like, yeah, now it's Jawbreaker. He's like, okay, no problem. So they drive out there. It takes them 5 days to get there. They record this album in 3 days. Even after Steve Albini's brand new 24-channel mixing caught fire, and they had to stop while they fixed it. I know the universe conspires against this band. But they end up cranking out the whole thing, cost them $1,000. Steve Albini's name, I will have you know, is not in the liner notes of this because he hated that kind of thing. So it says produced by Jawbreaker and engineered by Fluss, which is the name of Steve Albini's cat at the time. So that was how they got around that. And they had everything ready to go, and they were listening to mixes almost immediately, and they kind of fucking hated it. And Blake Schwarzenbach, who's kind of like that, he was getting in his head, and he was like, I'm just really not happy with some of this stuff. Like, I don't know, like this might be the worst shit ever, because this is the first album. Before this, it was very collaborative. This one is all him. He wrote everything front to back. So he's really in his own head and putting pressure on himself. Meanwhile, and this is the pre-internet, this thing leaked and somehow got out into the scene and just caught like wildfire everywhere. So people already had this and were like doing sing-alongs at concerts before this album actually even came out. So what they did was when they got back, they sat on it for like maybe 2-3 months, and they ended up re-recording 2 songs and introducing a third. So the 2 songs that got re-recorded were the first song in the album, Boxcar, and oddly enough, the one that wasn't included that they included later, which Blake Schwarzenbach later said is kind of the summation of the entire album, which is Condition Oakland. So all of that leads up to 24-Hour Revenge Therapy. And this is an immaculate album for me, mostly because I found it at exactly the right time. And if you ever want somebody that can really, truly verbalize just the despair, the frustrations of you just entered adulthood, but you're not kind of an adult yet, and you're kind of going through a lot of things and you can't figure your life out, this album does it completely. I mean, you start off with The Boat Dreams from the Hill, which is great. It's a song literally written from the point of view of this boat that'll never actually get to go and be a boat. And it's like I just sit on this hill and this guy keeps patching me, and it's like the most wonderful metaphor for broken dreams and unrealized promise, and it's done in such kind of a charming way. And I just love the line where they talk about, where he mentions how like he just sits there, but it's rainy days drop boyish wonder. And just the idea of like the closest this boat ever gets to being a boat is when it rains on it. It's just kind of sad. And then we have Indictment, which actually the full title, which they always say live, is Scathing Indictment of the Pop Industry. They actually wrote this about like bands that they knew that were like kind of like selling out for money, and it was like their experience with kind of their brush up with like major like labels during their whole tour with Nirvana, and how people were perceiving them. It was kind of a tongue-in-cheek dig at that. And then we get to easily one of the few times they decided to write a sing-along, which is Boxcar, which is, even to them, I think is kind of great. It's just all about how even in punk they were kind of not punk, and how they were almost, because they caught in with the Gilman Street crew, which is kind of where your Rancids, your Green Days, your Op Ivies, like they were kind of embraced by that kind of ethos, because it is very regimented of just like everything is absolutely anti-establishment, anti-corporate, but it's so rigid. Like they were like we're getting in trouble for playing with a band we like, and somehow we're a sellout because like Nirvana asked us to play with them. And there are just so many other moments in this album, and I could go on and on and on, and I probably will, but I know I've been speaking for a lot. But I want to just circle back to Condition Oakland, and I thought like having that be written later, but being obviously the perfect metaphor, like the perfect summation for this album really is true. Like even in the lyrics, like I reach out for a hand that I just slapped away. And just the idea of like he goes to this train yard to hopefully get an idea of like what freedom might feel like, but like he just feels more isolated, alone than ever. Or the song, and also I love the whole middle section. So this is a thing, because this band kind of like was later assessed as like an emo band, especially with their album after this, and that's a story for another day, because this album is regarded as like one of the greatest emo records ever made, and you can kind of hear it. But they have this thing they do that has been aped to death, where they have a big long interlude with a borrowed audio track kind of playing over top of it. And it is here, and it's so perfect because it's actually a poem from Jack Kerouac. That's Jack Kerouac talking the entire time. And if you can listen close and hear that piano playing, that's actually Steve Allen. So, because it was taken from a Steve Allen show. And just him waxing poetic about being in Oakland and like, you know, seeing how the people live. And it's just, it's really wonderful. But also we have those moments of just like failed relationships and heartache, like Ashtray Monument being about his parents' divorce and how ugly it was. But even in all that sadness, there's like rays of hope that kind of bring through. And then the best song on the spoiler alert for later, it's Do You Still Hate Me? I love that song to death. It's in my top 3 or 4 songs I wish I would have written. Like, I would have been all right with myself if I did. And I think it just sums up perfectly heartbreak, but also all the things that are left unanswered from a failed relationship. Because the entire song is like, the entire chorus is just all these questions that this guy is asking by his partner that's no longer there, that he's never going to get the answers for. And it's just beautiful in its heartache. And somehow also all of this is just catchy. And all of these guys are like on fire on their instruments. Blake Schwarzenbach, his lyrics are incredible. In this album specifically, he really grows as a lyricist. Also, just a lot of the guitars are just amazing. The drummer, Adam Failer, funny enough, he had 2 inspirations for like the way he approached drums in this, and that is the band's Sugar and Cheap Trick. And you hear it now. You'll hear it going forward. And then, oh God, I never remember how to say the bass player's name because it is a goddamn tragedy.
Is it one of those things with like a lot of umlauts?
It's like Chris Bauermeister. So he learned here because he's like, hey, Blake's playing stuff that's like really crazy, and Failer's playing stuff that's kind of crazy. If I also play something crazy, it's just going to be a cacophony. And he had to learn like when to kind of scale back and when to kind of add in. And I think it really shines through. So when this released, they ended up selling almost 100,000 copies of this, even though this thing leaked in advance, even though people kind of knew it already. Just on like its own merits, it outpaced any other album they've ever put out. It is widely regarded, rightfully so, as the best album they've ever done. It is on so many lists for pop punk, emo punk, and 90s just music in general, of just like some of the best that have ever been put out. I'm going to stop talking now because it's been like 15 minutes. So that's Jawbreaker's 24-hour revenge therapy.
All right. I'll start us off with this one. So I was already going to give it a pretty good rating from the first listen. Then we pushed the recording back and it went up.
Okay.
I really dig this album. I think it's a little long. I think that one being its biggest flaw.
So it is only 11 tracks. I know Spotify has all those extra shit, but
right.
Yeah.
But after the first half of the album, which is like a bunch of like 2-minute to maybe 2:30 songs, then we get to Condition Oakland, and then everything starts to become like 5:3, like the average song length. But I really dig the instrumentals on this in particular. Like, there's a couple times where like I heard like double kick drum, and like it really worked. I think like Indictment had double kick drum, and I loved the bass line on Boxcar. And you're right; these are super catchy lyrics. Melodies and like deep lyrics. It is an album that kind of had to grow on me, to be honest with you, because I remember like listening to the first 3 songs kind of being like, Bill, what did you bring here? But yeah, as I gave it another 2 or 3 listens, it really started to grow on me. I really appreciated the craftsmanship of the album. And there's a lot of bold decisions in it that I really, really appreciated.
I'll take it.
Okay. Question for you, Bill. Who is Steve Albini? I felt like you said that with such authority, like I'm supposed to.
Yeah. So Steve Albini's kind of like a super engineer producer. If you could think of most of albums from his most famous work being In Utero.
Okay.
He's
gotcha.
like known for a lot of like different like noises and stuff. Like funny enough, like they were showing like in the Dope Breakdown documentary, they were like, hey, this one part in this song like that they were talking about that they recorded, like, what did you use? And he's like, oh yeah, it's this. And it was a little tiny ass Radio Shack amp. He's like, yeah, if you crank it up all the way, you get a real nice squelch out of it. And, like, he was very much like known for his very like massive sound.
He's kind of like rock production royalty.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And he was famous for never wanting to be known as a producer. He just wanted to like work with bands. And so he would just never take credit for a lot of stuff. So he sadly recently just passed away.
Yeah.
And it is like a gigantic
A
loss.
huge loss for the music industry. Yeah.
Yeah. If you look at, I know somebody put out a list of like the 20 greatest Steve Albini albums ever made of the ones that he's worked on. This one's number 7. So that ought to tell you like how great some of these were. I can't remember the entire list, but it's worth looking up and you'll be like, oh my God, he worked with this band and this band. It was like, it's insane. It's like a crosswork of like all these different bands. So
thank you. Yeah. The reason why I love being on the show, I'm always being educated because I feel like I love music, but I feel like I know nothing.
Same.
Also, I really appreciate you, Bill, because you're always exposing me to new punk style music because I was never really exposed to it very much, like a little bit growing up, but like I feel like the last few years, just knowing you've been able to like just expose me to a lot of great like punk style music, so I really appreciate you on that, and also just like different styles, genres of music. But yeah, anyways, going back to this specific album, I really dug this. I thought this was great. I would categorize this as like bouncy punk. Like I just feel like it's like yeah, like it has good like melodies and like I really like the lyrics. I agree with Bard. It's like grown on me more and more as I've listened. This was new to me. Yeah, I'd never heard either the band or this album. Also, a great movie and name of the band.
Oh my God, you made a Jawbreaker movie reference.
Yeah, and then being from the Bay Area, like I love all the Bay Area like references and like things.
Oh, especially West Bay Invitational, which is somebody described the punk rock Great Gatsby, and I'm like, that's the most perfect metaphor for anything I've ever heard in my life.
But no, I really really like this. I thought vocals are great, lyrics are great. Yeah, really enjoyed this.
Sorry.
I can go next.
Yeah.
I need to ask Bill one question. The alternate takes are not on the original album. That's just something that's
correct. The album ends with "In Satting Around."
Okay, that changes my rate. That changes my rating drastically because I was about to come in here being like, "Why do we have these here? That's not there."
Yeah.
So Jawbreaker's greatest strength is their writing. You took the words right out of my mouth when you said sometimes rainy days drop like Boyce Wonder. That's my favorite line on the whole album. Yeah, you guys are right. And like when Bill, you mentioned that like the drummer is trying to do some like cheap trick stuff. You can definitely hear it, and especially some of the fills. But yeah, it's got some interesting moments. Outpatient has like a fun little breakdown. Ashtray Monument probably has my favorite guitar work in it. My favorite 1-2 punch though, I think, of the entire album is Ache into Do You Still Hate Me? I think they go really well in terms of storytelling and whatnot. And then I have one little gripe with it, but I'll get to that with my least favorite song.
Sure.
But yeah, for punk, this is pretty good. Yeah.
All right, Payson.
Yeah, Bill, I think this is the second punk album you've recommended me, and I know next to nothing about punk aside from like the really big bands. And I'll be honest, you're 2 for 2. I really like.
What was the other one?
And Out Came the Wolves. I think it's the Rancid.
Well, fucking yeah, obviously. 1994. 1994 is fucking amazing. So.
Yeah, I'm not sure I liked this one quite as much as that one.
Yeah.
I think it's just, it took me a little while to get into it because, like, listening to this, I was like, okay, I'm just going to put it on the back while I'm, like, driving. And then I was like, I think the best way to enjoy this would be if I had the lyrics in front of me because I just could not quite understand what he was saying. And when I did actually... Liner notes.
Yeah.
When I did actually sit down and listen to the lyrics, I thought it was super thoughtful and, like, really like emotional. I really loved it. Like Ashtray Monument was my personal favorite song just because I like songs where it's like about like being in a really tough place and a really sad part of your life.
Yeah.
And just trying to find the good points in that and trying to figure out, like, okay, what can I control? What are the things I can appreciate? And I think it does a really great job at that. And yeah, I do just love like the sound and just like I know this seems super normy without describing punk, but like I like just how dirty it sounds. I like how like unstructured it is, and I think it's really cool. So yeah, I really enjoyed this album. When you said that Spotify adds a lot of extra stuff, I was like, oh crud, am I gonna be able to remember exactly which ones? And I'm like, oh yeah, the ones that say alt are probably not the original album. So that was pretty easy to mentally know. But yeah, I really enjoyed this.
All right, Bill. So hit us up with your score, your favorite song, and your least favorite song for this one.
Sure
I know
thing.
it's going to be pretty high.
Okay. My score for this is kids, this is a fucking 10. You don't get better than this. This is a 10, and I'm not going any lower than that. Fucking I don't know what to tell you. So as far as favorites, I do have my favorite, but like, you know, coming back to this one again, I forgot just how much of a gut punch listening to Outpatient is, especially knowing everything he went through before recording, and it's all of his experience being stuck. Like, I'm incontinent on another continent, or like I'm talking through my pen. Am I bleeding? Like, just like that, he's able to articulate with so few words just how scary a feeling that is, and then also losing your own voice, like completely. And like what that does to somebody, I can't even imagine. But Do You Still Hate Me is fucking it. That's it. That's an immaculate song. And for my worst, I'm gonna borrow a quote. So the Hard Times ranked all 4 of their albums. Naturally, this one was number 1. They stopped. So normally when they do that, they put in like, hey, listen to this one on repeat. This is a skip. After Unfun, they're like, there are no more skips going forward. So when it came to this one, they're like, hey, on repeat, the entire goddamn thing. And the skip, fucking fight me. So that's my worst song on this album. You can fucking fight me because I don't have one. So
I love that.
Because if you remove any one song, I don't want to live in a world where that happened. So yeah.
Okay, fair enough. We don't necessarily keep track of that. So Payson, let's go to you next. Score, favorite, and least favorite.
Yeah, okay. Score, I'm not gonna go quite as high as Bill, but I'm going to give it a very good score of 8.5 out of 10. I really enjoyed this. This is not one I could see myself returning to a ton just because it is a lot, but I could see myself returning to individual songs. I already said Ashtray Monument was my personal favorite song. If I were to say my least favorite one, maybe Ache. Ache didn't do a ton for me. Yeah, it's just the only one that's just kind of like there for me. But yeah, overall, really good album.
All right, Melissa.
Yes. Let's see. Rating, I'm like between an 8 and a 9. So I'll do 8.75.
Son of a bitch. I also have this at 8.75.
With your fucking weird numbers. Just halves and holes. Come on.
No.
Spoiler alert. All my fucking ratings are a solid number.
But no, it's one I can like see going to a 9, and who knows, it could maybe even go to a 10. I don't know yet. And then for favorite song, I think my favorite was The Boat Dreams from the Hill. I really like the lyrics on that one, and it, you know, just the start of the album too. It like hooked me from the start. So I'd say that's probably my favorite. And then least favorite, I'm so bad at this. I'll just say
Don't skip, so you can skip too if you want.
yeah, I mean, I'll just say in Saddling Around, but no real reason. Just maybe I don't remember it the most, so I'll go with that.
All right, Brooklyn.
All right, so I'm also giving this an 8.5, which puts its average score to an 8.9. Right now for this season, that puts you top 5 at the moment.
I think this is also the highest rated album I've ever bought.
I think it is, actually.
Because Because, man,
Yeah.
some people hated fucking Velocity Girl the last time I was on, and it's fine. It's
I
fine.
would,
It's
I would
fine.
also say that I would also say people unreasonably hated Husker Du. Those people
Yes,
do not
that is
enjoy,
also very a
songs.
correct thing to say. Yes.
Yes. So my favorite song off of this is Boxcar, and I think it's in my favorite like subgenre of punk songs is people calling out other punk people that they are not punk enough.
Yep.
Is it about a former singer?
No, it is about them kind of be like, we're not like, you can't lump us in with everything. Like, I'm not like, it's right there. The lyrics like, you're not punk. I'm telling us like, I never was one. It also is their most covered song. The Ataris on their debut album, actually, this song is on there. Like, they do a cover of this. So many bands have covered this exact song. So, yeah.
All right. And then for my least favorite, it was going to be Condition Oakland, just because I find the lead guitar in the chorus is a little bit grating. There's just one little thing that kind of takes you away from it. But I'm actually going to say it's Jinx Removing as my least. Just arrangement-wise, it seems very like cookie cutter, very standard. It seemed kind of rushed. But yeah, otherwise else, it's like everything else has been pretty good.
And as I said, it's 8.75.
Bless you.
You.
Thank you.
Bless you.
So my favorite song is also Do You Still Hate Me? That one really, really stood out to me on this final listen. I'm going to piss people off. I'm so sorry about this, but my least favorite one is Ashtray Monument. It's just, for some reason, like lyrically, it's great, but there's something about the melody and the instrumentation of this one that I just don't find myself wanting to come back to as often as some of the other songs on here. Still a great song overall, great album. Thank you for bringing it on, Bill.
Thank you for letting me rant for probably like 15, 20 minutes. So also there's if you there's a YouTube channel called Trash Theory. If you're so inclined, he did an entire episode on this band, really heavily on this one. It's like 40 minutes. It's a great watch. And Don't Break Down is also available on the Internet Archive because of fucking course it is. So.
All right. So we're going to move on to my album next, and I'm going to ask everyone this question right off the back because apparently Spotify removed the original version of the album from its listing. So there's only now the deluxe version and the 10th anniversary version. The deluxe version ends on Blue Dream. And then the 10th anniversary album ends on a song called Beautiful Ruin. Did anyone listen to either of these versions?
I did the 10th anniversary edition.
I also did the 10th anniversary edition.
I did the deluxe version. Ended on Blue Dream.
Let's see. Blue Ruin?
Blue Ruin. Yeah, that's the 10th anniversary.
Okay, that one.
Okay. Well, this is going to be fun. Because I listened to the deluxe version. So thanks a lot, Spotify. Great run. So I'm going to talk about the deluxe version. We will talk about both versions if anyone wants to talk about those two additional songs on the 10th anniversary version. So I came across this album because I don't remember how it popped up, but Brave was the first song that introduced me to this. And I was like, who the fuck is this? Because I was so impressed by that song. And when I realized that one of the main producers of this album was No ID, I was like, I need to listen to this right away. Because I am a huge fan of him as a producer. And when I say that this album completely floored me, it's one of my favorite albums of the 2010s, hands down. Because not only do I think Jhene Aioko is a really beautiful singer who really knows how to use her voice properly, she's also a great storyteller. This entire album, it's not untraditional in its themes of, bad breakup, refinding your happiness, and all that. But the way that she's able to pen some of these lines, like specifically in Lion King, where she gets real deep with Mr. Serial Lover, I wish your mother loved you like I could have, so you would have known how to treat a woman. I think she's just super smart with the pen. But the production on this album, I think, is absolutely jaw-dropping. Like, No ID, Cocaine 80s, Thundercat, Fisticuffs. Like, the work that everyone put on this album's production is incredible. From, like, the fantastic guitar in a lot of these songs, the horns on Brave, just the spacious lusciousness of the mix. It's just an incredible sounding album. Yeah, it's just one that I've been wanting to talk about for a long time because one of my all-time favorite songs is on this album, which we'll get to later. But then you get to like songs like Spotless Mind and Waiting, and there's just so many things on here R&B wise that I think pop music has been trying to chase for a long time since this came out, especially Ariana Grande, who I wouldn't be shocked at all if she loves this album. So I think it's an important album and just a beautiful listen, and I would love to hear everyone else's opinions on this.
I'll go first.
Yeah, go ahead, Brooklyn. Go ahead.
Yeah. I feel bad because Andrew, you had like 4 albums that you were considering, and I was like, yeah, you should check out this one because somebody in the community, I don't know if it was either
It was Dylan.
It was Dylan. Yeah, somebody brought up this album and like introduced my favorite song on the album, which
no, that's not Dylan. Then I don't remember who it is. Then
no, I think it's Paul. It's either Paul or Zach. But yeah, so I'd heard about it like years ago, and then you brought it up. I was like, oh, I want to go explore this. Let's get through the pros and cons. The pros, it is a Shed album. The cons, it is a Shed album.
Fuck you.
It's a lot. It's a lot of the same, in my opinion. There is some difference, like Limbo. The guitarist nights. It has a good fade out. It's cool. Has a nice little like kind of jazzy sort of descent into pre-chorus. I really like that arrangement. Pretty Bird's fun. Common has a great little moment there. Promises has some nice backing vocals. But like it's almost too niche for its own good. It's not for me. I don't think. I tried listening to it in both aspects. Obviously, like as a Shed album, it's good. But like when I try to listen to it in the car, I got a little bored. But I could see myself being the grumpy old man in the corner for this one.
Okay.
What is a Shed album?
Thank you for asking that. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Welcome to the lore of Brooklyn Vale.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. So a Shed album is an album you listen to when you are high.
Oh, okay.
When you are
Gotcha.
Okay.
So instead of saying that all the time, I just call them Shed albums.
Okay. Thank you.
I don't know why it's called. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I can go. I think this is perfectly fine. I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it. I feel like she's really good at establishing vibes. So I kind of get the sentiment of a Shed album. Like it's a very vibey album, which I like. I like vibes. I think there's too many songs. Like I
can agree with that.
I think that's my criticism. It just feels like a little bit like I get a little lost because there's just so many. I do think the production's really good. I think she has a lovely voice. I think it's like an easy to hum along, sing along type of voice, which I appreciate.
I mean, she released an album later down the line, literally called Chilumbo. So
Okay, yeah, that fits. That fits. But yeah, no, I mean, like I listened to this like while I was working, and it was like that was a great setting, I would say, for this album. It's like, yeah, I like having this on kind of low while I'm working, just vibing.
okay, lo-fi beats to work to. Got it.
Yeah, yeah.
I really enjoyed this album. Shout out to Bar that the second he sent this album, he was like, "Hey Payson, I want you to look at the track listing. Tell me if you notice anything." And I'll be like, "Okay, I'll see." Like, and I at first I'm like, "Shit, am I gonna disappoint him?" Because like I don't know some like reference. And then I see Eternal Sunshine and Spotless Mind. I'm like, "Oh, Bar knows me. You're a beautiful man, Bar. Really appreciate that." I really like this. I thought I don't listen to a ton of like music specifically like this, so it did like Melissa said, it was very vibey. It was very like ethereal for me, but I really got into that. How do you pronounce her name?
Jhene Aioko.
Jhene Aioko. Yeah, I think I think she's a really great voice. I do just think like the Bar. I think the production and just how otherworldly it feels, I think was probably the number one highlight for me. There were several songs I really enjoyed. Like I think the run of Lion King to Eternal Sunshine in that album, I think that was probably like my favorite like run of songs.
I actually agree with you there.
Yeah. Looking at the I really loved Brain. I really loved The Pressure. Just like, yeah. Like Brooklyn said, like with it being a Shed album, it did kind of like take me to another world while I was listening to it. And like I was listening to it while I was like trying to like find artifacts in Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, and really
Great.
Yeah. Hey, post game stuff. Like when I'm playing the normal game, I don't listen to music. Post game, I listen to music all the time. That's how I usually like to go. But yeah, really enjoyed it. I also do think it is a little long, and I think some of the songs blend together almost too well, where I didn't even realize I was on another song, which like might. I'm not sure if you guys find that to be a negative. I don't really consider it to be like a huge negative, but like it is a little tough sometimes when I'm like trying to like categorize things. But yeah, I think this is a really interesting listen.
Here's the thing. Everybody's criticisms were pretty much mine. But I think I love this a lot more than most. So
Let's go.
I think it's like I am a sucker for like a killer like woman singer. Like that is just the quickest way to my heart. So my favorite artist, female fronted. And
in the show. That's all I'm gonna say.
I didn't hear you said that too quick. What? Okay. So just to hear the soul and the power in her voice, it's something quite incredible. She really does. But I do agree, the album goes on a little too long.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is very repetitious. Maybe if like there was like one song that was just like an I Love Your Smile out of nowhere just to break it up, I think maybe we would have it would be a slightly higher rating. But when this thing is on, it's on and it's cooking. I will say, Bar, this is the second concept album you've made me listen to.
Yeah.
So that is, I'm sure, not by an accident.
Yeah.
No, I get what you're saying, Brooklyn, about like, yeah, I could totally see if I partook. This is exactly. I would have this and the Slackers on like a rotation and just be like, yo, and it'd be Ganja City. So I am not that way anymore. I started yoga, so fucking everything's weird. But yes, this is definitely, especially when my first time listening to this was on the train ride on the way home after an extraordinarily stressful day at work. And I'm like, oh, this immediately lightens the mood. So I get the love for it. I really do. But I also understand what everybody's saying. And I think those are all pretty valid. So, because I completely agree.
So one thing I want to bring up then is because we all listened to like a little bit of extended versions of the original album. The original album actually ends at Pretty Bird Freestyle.
Okay.
Do we think that that would have been the right moment for this album to end as a whole?
Yes.
Now that we're getting the least favorite songs, 100%.
Okay. Yeah. I kind of agree. Even though I do really love some of the additional songs. But I kind of agree. I think Pretty Bird Freestyle would have been the best way to end the album as a whole. But with that being said, I'm going to give my score. I'm giving this a 9.1.
You're gonna do weird scores for the rest of the episode because of your reaction.
Yeah, exactly. I do agree. It is still kind of long. I also personally think that my least favorite song is Pretty Bird Freestyle. Because, like, it's the one that kind of, for me, kind of meanders a little bit too long. And, like, don't get me wrong, the common verse at the end is really cool. But it is the one where I'm kind of like, all right, guys, let's get this thing going a little slow. Yeah, exactly.
She feels like a feature on that, and like she has the most meat and potatoes of that song.
Yeah. My favorite song, though, and it's one of my favorite songs ever made, is Eternal Sunshine. I think that piano line is just absolutely stunning, and you add the little scratchy, like, recording effects to it. And just lyrically, the whole idea of just like memories as a whole, it's just really beautiful. Especially watch the music video for it. It's just absolutely beautiful. Yeah, that one hits me super emotionally every single time that I hear it. Oh, the details are so good. Let's go to Bill next.
I gave this one an 8.00000000000186953324.
We're glad to add that math in.
Bill, what does that range?
It's a fucking 8. That's how fucking numbers work.
You know what? I might go back and try to get the final number just as
No, I thoroughly enjoyed this. I definitely heard it at the right time. I don't know if I could listen to it all the time. This is definitely like, it's got to be the right setting for this kind of record. But when it's on, it's on. And funny enough, me and Bar have the same best song. I pulled it up too. We Were Free to Be Everything We Dreamed. Fucking hell, dude. Come on. That's brutal. My least favorite is Waiting, though. I feel like that's one of the ones I'm like, this is way too repetitious. It sounds like it kind of gets lost in the sauce for me for the rest of it. So, I mean, say what you will about the freestyle. At least it may be enter, but I'm like, at least it's like slightly different and interesting. And I feel like Waiting doesn't really do that for me. So,
let's go to Brooklyn next.
5.5.
Oh my god.
Favorite. I'll preach to the choir on this one. Eternal Sunshine. Clear favorite. Favorite chorus. Love the piano in it. It's just very soothing to hear that. My least favorite is gonna be Lion King. And in my notes, it's started to pick up steam, but again with the repetitive lyrics, Drake core.
Oh, you can go fuck yourself.
I am so looking forward to the next album we're going to be fucking talking about now.
Oh,
Wow.
I get that that's what you think what rap is in Canada.
Yeah.
But first of all, how dare you?
yeah. Go fuck yourself. Let's go to Payson next.
Yeah, I really love this album. I was between two songs for my favorites. Oh, okay. I'm also gonna give it an 8. like Bill.
Who likes fucking numbers? Yeah.
0.0. I'm of the mind of either 0.0 or 0.5. That's all you're gonna see from me.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I get it.
Compromise, Bill. I love it. My two favorite songs were Brave and Eternal Sunshine. Everyone took Eternal Sunshine, so I think I'm gonna take Brave. The line that hit me in Brave was but whatever the case, you're my favorite mistake. I just encapsulates everything about the song. My least favorite songs, genuinely, were I listened to the 10th anniversary. They were the ones that came after Pretty Bird Freestyle, like the way how they end. I do think the album does sort of end with the weaker songs, but if I could have picked that one, I do think I would agree with Bar, where I would say Pretty Bird Freestyle is probably my least favorite song of the like official tracks.
All right, Melissa, finish this one up.
All right. I'll give this a 6.8.
Okay.
I agree. My favorite song was Eternal Sunshine. Like that's the song that I would like return to, and like I downloaded that one. Like that one I really liked. The whole album, it's okay. But like that song was great.
All right, that's gonna have a special spot because like everyone like kind of picked it.
Yeah.
So.
It was the standout, like easily. And then least favorite is like in between Lion King and Pretty Bird. Again, it's the repetitiveness. Like I think she's trying to go for like a mantra thing, or like she's almost like talking to herself.
100%.
And like I appreciate that and I like that, but like both of those songs, like they kind of grind my gears a little bit with how repetitive it was. I was like, skip. I had to like skip both of those. So they're kind of tied, if that's possible.
Okay, that's possible. Yeah.
Okay.
As I said, we don't really keep track of like what songs people pick. All right. So Brooklyn, do you have a final tally for that?
Gets an average score of 7.48. You are in between Maggot Brain by Funkadelic and The Incredible True Story by Logic.
You know what? Ooh, one of those deserves to be as high as it is. The other one, I'm not sure. Let's move on.
I'm still on that mine made it to top 5. That's fucking bonkers. After this is done, I got to know what's surrounding it. So.
Just wait. It's you're gonna be really happy. All right, we're gonna go to Post by Bjork. Melissa, tell us more about it.
Yeah. So Bjork is somebody I've definitely been getting into more the last few years. I listened to her a little bit in high school, but like not a whole lot. But I've like really, just been getting into her discography a bit more. And then also Bill, again, introduced me to like the Sugar Cubes, which is awesome. Anyways.
I do that a lot.
Yeah, you do. I actually was going in between this and Debut, but I thought like Post has a little bit more like variety, I guess, in the album. But just to like say a quote from Cover Me, I'm going hunting for mysteries. I'm going to prove the impossible really exists. Like that is this album. Like I feel like I'm in another world when I'm listening to it. Like it feels so futuristic, like it coming out in the 90s, but even like listening to it now feels very like futuristic. Like it just feels like it's not even of this world to me. It's very creative, imaginative. I love this album. I think it's great. And I love the journey that you go on with it musically and lyrically.
So I'm going to let Payson go first because he messaged me something about this.
I'm excited.
Cody, you're muted.
Cody?
Y'all, I'm smart. So I never really listened to Bjork's music. The only thing I really knew like about her was that like she makes like artsier music, and I knew how to pronounce her name, which I do think is important. And I remember like the second I hit, I want to say I was walking around my local mall. I was in Barnes and Noble, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna start listening to Post. The second I hit Army of One, I'm like by like
Army
yeah,
of Me.
not Army of One. I'm thinking of something else. I think so. But the second I hit that, 3 songs in, I just messaged Bar and I was like, "Yo, Bar, your fucking rocks." Like, so Melissa, I did not realize how like in my vibe she was, and just like the number one thing I think it just came down to is I'm obsessed with her voice. Like she has just such a perfect like voice for music. Like Bill said, I think I'm also starting to realize that like I really like a really great female vocalist, and she is just one of the people that just like she just seems just so up my alley. As like I think this album has so many different like rings of emotion. Like there are certain songs that are like super emotional, and then like my favorite one is probably the most like peppy and optimistic one of them all. And I just could not help myself but love it. But yeah, like I got so into this, and I'm so happy to listen to more songs by Bjork. Bar, I know you told me to listen to one, and I'm going to listen to it after. I promise.
Oh, Triumph of a Heart?
Yeah,
oh,
I promise.
it's incredible.
Yeah, definitely a big fan of this album.
I will go next. Yeah, no, this. So I've never listened to a Bjork album all the way through. I've only heard like specific songs, like Human Nature, Triumph of a Heart, Army of
Human
Me.
Behavior.
Human Behavior.
Human Nature was Michael Jackson.
I know that. Yes. Yes.
You're the fucking music guy. Come on.
I've been up since 7 a.m.
I've been up since 5. Fuck off.
I will 9.
So yeah, the only one I ever heard off of this album originally are actually Army of Me and It's Oh So Quiet. It's Oh So Quiet, if you know me, makes a whole lot of sense as to why that was one of the only songs.
Fucking music video for that is one of the greatest things I've ever seen in my life. It's like being wrapped in pure joy.
And I am so happy that you brought this one to the table. This album's incredible. I love this is like hyperpop before hyperpop ever became a thing. Because the thing I love the most is the like experimentation of this, like the bold choices and risks that it takes, and how perfectly they play out. Like it is an absolute stunner. And then you get to songs like You've Been Flirting Again, which like have these deep emotional impacts, like lyrically, and just her delivery on songs like that. They grab you emotionally. Like you can tell how invested in her like lyrics she is when she's delivering these songs. This is a dope ass album.
So I had been introduced to Bjork 4 by you, Melissa. I think it was Human Behavior you had as your favorite music video.
Yeah.
And I dug that, and that style is definitely carried over to this. This is your 3rd time on here, I believe. Yeah, 3rd.
Yeah.
3rd or 4th. 3rd. Yeah. This is my favorite album that you have submitted. I loved this. This is incredible. I love when albums introduce like a new sort of idea and then kind of carry it throughout the album. Oh my God, where is it? Yeah, like It's Oh So Quiet. Obviously, big room swing, and you can tell she's having so much fun during that song. But then you get a little bit more of that sort of style in where is it? Isabel. Isabel is kind of like a continuation of that idea. But then like Army of Me is such a great way to open it. It reminded me of like 9 Inch Nails or like Trent Reznor, that like just really heavy bass synth, and it's such a nice groove, and then her falsetto sort of voice over top of it just works so well. Hyper Ballad is a nice sort of like trance sort of house sort of style. The strings are a nice touch at the end. Possibly maybe is a very big Shed song. Great time with that. I Miss You is, I guess, would you say it's dancehall? Yeah, I'd say so. I'd also say that I Miss You is probably like the litmus test of the album. Like, listen to that one first, and if you like it, you're probably going to enjoy the rest of the album. Then you have Cover Me and Headphones, I think is the last two, and that's just a great sort of like descent to end the album. It's not like super overbearing, but yeah, I had a lot of fun with this.
If I could just ask one thing, why would you not listen to the first one to see if first song to see if you like the album? Is there a reason? Like you know way more about me than music, so maybe I'm just coming from an ignorant.
I found I Miss You to be a culmination of all the sounds that she's trying to go for.
Thank you.
Yeah. Mr. Cariola.
Bjork fucking rules, kids. So it's funny. I always think of, and if you've never seen it, it's the fucking funniest thing ever.
Dancer in the Dark.
Jesus Christ!
Funny. So funny side note story. I rented that on VHS. That's how fucking old I am. And me and my roommate watched that.
Oh.
When that movie was over, we looked at each other and we almost broke the VCR trying to get that tape out of it. Because I'm like, that movie's amazing. I never fucking want to see it again. And then I took it back to TOA Video and I paid the 50 cents rewinding fee because I wouldn't even have it in my house that long. I wouldn't rewind the fucking tape. I had to get it out immediately. And I'm like, here's your 50 cents. That is well spent.
This movie was great, but it's also fucking cursed.
Yes.
Never again. Anyway, no. What I was going to say is, I don't know who decided in the SNL rating room when they were doing Celebrity Jeopardy that we needed a Bjork impression and that it needed to be Winona Ryder. And then I don't know who thought that, but I hope they got all the fucking money because there's a quote she says, and it's so funny, but I also kind of believe it's probably something she said. And then she's just talking like Bjork, and she just goes, sometimes I throw nickels in the oven, and I just love it that everything is music. And I'm like, I fucking think she might do that. And you know what? Somehow it's going to work because that's what she does. Like, I don't know what goes on in this woman's brain that she just, like, puts out the craziest shit I've ever heard, but is somehow fucking incredible. Like, it could go from, like, the saddest thing ever to, like, just, you could just hear the size of her voice in It's Oh So Quiet when she is belting out like those big numbers. And I'm like, God damn it. Like, you were somehow born in the wrong time and came just at the right time. Like, I could like imagine her with like Shirley Bassey and all those people, like just belting out all those numbers, but at the same time, just doing all this crazy avant-garde shit. I love you, you fucking crazy Icelandic woman. Yes. So this is a good time. I like this record.
All right. So everyone's talked about this, right?
Yep.
All right. So, whoops, we're going to save that for later.
Hey! What?
Ruined my joke. That was
So, we are going to... God damn it. StreamYard, fix that shit.
We'll fix that in editing.
We'll fix that in post, yeah.
Sure.
Speaking of post, Melissa, give us your score, your favorite.
This is a 10. This is an 11. This is a 10. Yeah. I love this album. It's great. I also kind of want to be like Bill, like fight me. Like I don't have any least favorites. Sorry. Apparently
we already said that, Preston. So you know what?
Yeah.
Pop off, sis. Go ahead.
Yeah. So there's no least favorite. I'll say It's Oh So Quiet. She's having so much fun in that one. Like,
such a great music video. I didn't know I needed a dancing mailbox in my life.
It's so good.
It's fucking great.
And yeah, just Bjork's music videos in general, always great.
Always bring it. Always.
But yeah, I'll do that one. It's so theatrical, and yeah, it's just so fun. Yeah.
I'm gonna go next, Melissa. The last 2 times you were on, I brought on an album that
Yes.
you gave 10s to.
Yes.
Both times.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's my turn. This is a 10. This is a perfect album. I will say the one song that I probably would go back to the least often is Headphones. Solely
Get out of my
because
fucking mind, dude.
solely because unless you're wearing headphones, it doesn't quite work as well for me for some reason. But when Brooklyn and I were doing our top 500 series, on my personal top 500 list was Army of Me. And that is still my favorite song from this album. Just like the grinding instrumentals and like that factory machine kind of quality to it, just with like those genuine, like rageful like lyrics. So good. Let's go to Payson next.
Yeah, so I did some research first off. Army of One is the title of a Coldplay song or an Offspring song. So Bjork, I want to
So Bjork, we're very sorry we even put you in the same conversation as either of those bands.
No, that's not my joke, but Bjork, on behalf of me, regardless of which one I was mistaking you for, sorry. But no, I was thinking about going to 9.5 because I wasn't sure if I wanted to do a 10. But yeah, screw it. I'm going to go 10. This was amazing by every single stretch of the imagination. I'm not even going to try to be cool. It's Oh So Quiet, easily my favorite song. It's just so much fun. Just like when that chorus hits, like it sounds like this weird, like vaudevillian, like Broadway, like show tune. And I just had so much fun listening to it. My least favorite song is maybe Headphones because then it's over. But yeah, I absolutely loved the album. So thank you, Melissa.
Yeah.
All right, Bill.
I'm gonna give this one a 9 personally. So I'm sorry, it's not a perfect 10. I mean, Oh, I'm sorry. Is 9 fucking terrible? Oh, would you like an 8.14? Like, I don't know what fucking math is. Anyway. Now I do love this album a lot. This is a fucking fantastic record. Listening to it again, I rediscovered what a fucking wonderful song possibly maybe is. And that is my current favorite just because I forgot how wonderful it is. I, like everybody else, Headphones drives me kind of insane. Like, it just doesn't work at all. And it kind of like, it's a wet fart to end on for me. So I think that's why I'm going 9. If it was something else or just slightly better, we'd be giving perfect marks here. So.
All right, Brooklyn.
All right, yeah, this gets a 9.2. I think I need to give it a little more time for it to get a 10. But
are you afraid of 5, sir? Are you afraid of 5? Just gonna fucking
I wanted to be odd and quirky, like Bjork is on this album. So it was fitting.
Oh, believe me, we'll get to odd and quirky.
Oh, we will. Yes.
Oh no. You know what? I was preparing myself for that.
So that's gonna put Melissa at number 1 now, right? Like that's fucking crazy.
So.
No, it puts her at number 2. She beat Bad Out of Hell by 0.05 points.
What?
My
is
favorite
happening?
Song. I'll agree with Andrew. Army of Me is my favorite song. I'm a sucker for tight bass grooves. And it hits that very well. My least favorite would probably be Enjoy. It's the one after it's so quiet. So like initially it kind of gets you right back into a sound that she had been establishing. But there's some choices like coming on the second verse that I don't agree with. There's like a random synth in there that doesn't make sense, and it just starts to get a little convoluted near the end. But then like once you get to You've Been Flirting Again, like it's fine. So.
Okay, so
what's the one album? What's the one album it's below? If I could ask, because it's number 2.
It's below Bad Out of Hell.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said it's above Bad Out of Hell. My bad.
Oh, sorry. Oh no, sorry. It's below Rumors.
Below. Oh, you know what? Fair.
Yeah.
Fair. I
Now,
cannot.
what is that?
The Fleetwood Mac album.
Fleetwood Mac. Yeah.
And who's that?
Bill, stop
Hey.
it.
Okay, I should have brought my boxing gloves for this.
You probably should have, bud. Yeah, we're gonna have
yeah.
we're gonna have some words.
I'm gonna, you know what? I say this a lot, but this is the true time that I mean it. I will die on this hill. That this is a good album. So like I said earlier in the show, this is their fourth studio album. Gordon was their debut. That famously had Brian Wilson and If I Had $1 Million. Then Maybe You Should Drive, which had Jhene, which is another pretty song. Alternative Girlfriend. Those are the only singles off of that one. Born on a Pirate Ship is whatever. But yeah, we get to Stunt. Reason I chose this album is the B-sides on this are fucking fantastic. To the point where they even get mixed in with the singles. This album in particular is the textbook definition of don't judge an album by its cover, because all of my American friends are like, oh, Barenaked Ladies, this is people that did 1 week. Yeah, they're awful. Sure, you can judge that off of that one song, but I don't listen to people that say they hate Barenaked Ladies without listening to at least this album. They go on to do like kind of different stuff. Like Stephen Page leaves the band, and it's mostly led by Ed Robertson. And then they get into some really kind of like dreamy sort of synth stuff. Silverball was one I had almost considered, but I wanted to kind of get to like I guess the prime of Barenaked Ladies. And the other reason that I wanted to submit this album is Payson in one of the various chats was like, I want albums to listen to. What do you guys recommend? And this is the one that I recommended, because I really think that people should listen to this before they can say I hate Barenaked Ladies. I believe there was a philanthropist, an auteur on here, Cody Newberry, that equated them to the Wiggles, and fruit salad is
The
yummy
funniest
yummy.
comparison of all time. The adult version of the Wiggles. The funniest comparison I ever heard.
But in saying that though, like last week we were talking about Father John Misty and like how his arrangement is like pretty straightforward, but his lyrics are very like dark and like in jokey, and like Barenaked Ladies is kind of doing a similar thing. It's a more lighthearted, I think, children's song-esque approach, but they're doing some interesting things like Alcohol, Who Needs Sleep, a song about insomnia. When You Dream is probably my favorite one that is Stephen Page led. I really like the wind chimes in it. It's actually the second time on this episode that wind chimes are featured. I think it was on Melissa's album that they're also featured. But then you also have like Get in Line, which is about a physical. She's on Time. I'll let you listen to that song and you can figure out what it's about. But that song like has a really cool arrangement for what it is. Some Fantastic is great. Like the line, just like pheromones for flies, you will not avoid my eyes, and then kind of how the piano plays into that pre-chorus. Also how that one ends by self-respect. I haven't had much of this since you left. Then you have like Never Is Enough is this great sort of like jazzy little piece. There's like the synth is nice and lightly added into it. It's like if I work really hard, I can mow your backyard. And then nice little chorus in there. Then It's All Been Done was probably like it was the second single to come off of this, and it got like mild radio play, not as much as 1 week, but it was definitely up there. Some great bridges in there as well, like It's All Been Done in particular. If I put my finger here, and if I say I love you, dear. If I play the same three chords, will you just yawn and say boom, boom, woo hoo? I'll Be That Girl is fun. I will save my favorite song for later because it has one of my favorite bridges ever, and it was actually used in Flight, the Denzel Washington movie. But yeah, Call and Answer was another single off of this as well. That's just like the song sort of says, it has a nice back and forth between Steven and Ed, and then like get to the part of like, I'm warning you, don't ever do those crazy messed up things that you do. And it has a great sort of build into the end. All right. Give me your worst.
Can I go first?
Sure.
Okay. First off, this is the only album that this is now the second time I listened to it, and I want to apologize to my good friend Brooklyn Vale. When you did recommend me the album, I did listen to it, and I never got back to you on what I thought. Okay. I don't have many too strong music tastes, and I don't know if this is strong music taste. Do you remember when I was saying how much I loved Bjork's voice?
Uh-oh.
Let's go to the other side of this.
Oh, no.
On 90% of this song, is Ed Robertson the name of the lead singer?
It's between Ed Robertson and Stephen Page. So Ed Robertson is the lead singer on. He's the fast guy in 1 week in the verses, and then Stephen does the chorus.
Okay. Who's the one that sings "She's on Time"? That's all I need to know.
That's Stephen, right?
Stephen Page. Yeah.
Okay. I cannot stand his voice. I'm sorry. I cannot stand his voice. It just seems just too whiny for me, and it really just kept me from liking a lot of these songs. Where like I do like a lot of the instrumental stuff to it. I do like how upbeat a lot of these songs are, but there's just something about his voice that I just can't get around. Like to use my mom as an example, my dad's favorite band is Rush, and she could never understand that because she knew like how musically talented they are. She just cannot stand Geddy Lee's voice. There's just something about Stephen Page's voice that just sounds like so like grimy and so like whiny in a way that I just found myself like tough to like it. Now you'll be able to take all the shots of me with David Byrne's voice on the next album we talk about. But yeah, like this is one that like there are songs I do like. Brooklyn was talking about how some people don't like 1 week. I actually do think that song is kind of fun. Light Up My Room is a song I enjoy, but I don't know. Maybe I'm gonna sound like a prude. The hornier they get, the less I begin to like it, and the more I start to roll my eyes to the point where I was like, guys, the adult version of the
What?
Thank you. The adult version of the Wiggles is maybe one of the most apt comparisons because they seem like they're just there to like make these fun, jokey songs that just I kind of enjoy them. I don't hate them, but they just don't do a ton for me.
Oh, hold on. I gotta play this because this is all I can hear Brooklyn saying as he's talking about Steven's voice.
You are a disgusting piece of crap.
Gotta be honest.
Okay. Someone else.
Okay, I'll go. So we had to reschedule because I had a migraine.
Was it caused by what we're talking about currently?
Possibly. No, I'm kind of just joking, but but I will say this album is frustrating for me. And like actually, how do I explain this? Like I feel like I do actually like a good amount of the songs just on their own. But like listening to the album was just like grinding my gears. Like it hurt my brain. It's like I don't like it as an album in its entirety for that reason. But like I do think there is a lot of good songs, and I do think they're talented. But yeah, like just I don't know if I like it from an album perspective. If that makes sense.
It's definitely long. Like I think it's the only album that we're talking about that's over an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you said my album dragged.
Yeah, this one really drags. And I do agree with Payson about the voice. I think that's the issue for me. I do struggle with some of the vocals, especially continuously. But I do think some of the lyrics, like you were kind of speaking to, very like dark humor, which I appreciate, and like a lot of like, I don't know, like I liked it lyrically, I think, more than what I was hearing musically, if those are the right words. Sorry, I don't know how to talk music very well. And yeah, I mean, going into this too, I was just like, okay, is 1 week just overshadowing this entire thing? And kind of, yeah, like I kind of live and die at like I like the 1 week song, and this was fine.
Bill, do you want to go next, or do you want me to go next?
You go ahead.
Okay. So I'm going to preface this by saying this is a good album. It's good. It's going to get a positive score from me. It's too damn long. And Barenaked Ladies, unfortunately, are that guy who is so sure that he's the funniest guy in the room that he has to make sure that you heard what he said.
This is coming from a Father John Misty stand. He's like, oh, I have to put my
Here's the
real
thing.
name.
Father John Misty doesn't care
titles.
if you heard what he said.
I like his voice better.
And they sometimes just cannot get out of their own damn way. There are some things on this album that I'm going to spoil my least favorite song. It's Who Needs Sleep, because fuck that recorder. I hated the recorder in that song. That is the shit that just like spikes up my back. And I'm not a recorder hater, but just like in that moment, it's the band going, you know what would be really funny in this moment? Stop. But here's the thing about Barenaked Ladies that I really respect as a band. They can write a fucking hook. Like, they know how to write a melody that just instantly gets lodged into your head and will not leave. And I respect that from a songwriting perspective. And sometimes that smirky, smug comedic attitude really does work. I'm another one who does actually really like 1 week. I know that it's a very divisive song. I really enjoy that one because of how much fun they seem to be having making it, even though they thought it was going to be the end of their career, apparently. It's All Been Done. I actually have always really liked that one. I hear it every once in a while. Told You So. I really enjoyed that one. But there's one song on the album that I'm shocked that more fans of this band don't talk about more, because from the moment I heard it the first time through, I went, where has this song been?
I swear to God, if you pick my favorite song on this record right now, I give up.
Let's go to you next.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh,
Now,
Oh man.
plot twist. I didn't hate this. Preference. I didn't love this either. So, I have opinions about this band specifically, but I'm going to go in just to spoil everything for right now. Because I need you all to understand the life I've lived. Okay. When I put this album on, I went straight to track 2, and here's why. I was of drinking age in the years 1998 and 1999. This fucking 1 week song was omnipresent. I have heard this song more times than songs I like. I've heard this song more times than I've defecated. Okay? Which is an alarmingly high number, I'm sure.
Holy shit.
Yeet this fucking song into the sun. I never want to hear it again. I'm pretty sure this and the Macarena are going to be a loop when I go to hell. So it's fine. Pushing all that to the side,
Oh my god.
I was genuinely surprised by some of the songs on this. And I was like, oh, wow. I'm like, okay. So here's what happens here. I'm like, okay. First of all, I used to love watching Adult Swim when it first started back in the early 2000s. And I watched so many fucking Baby Blues. So hearing It's All Been Done was just like a warm hug because that's the theme for that show. And it's perfect. And I'm like, oh, this is a cute one. I'm liking it. I'm feeling it. Okay. I'm like, oh, light up my room. Okay, that's fine. What the fuck is this? I'll Be That Girl song. What is happening? What are we doing? And there's just kind of moments like that. Now, not going to say the right. There's some choices were made, and but Bar is correct. There are parts where like these guys are good songwriters. If they would get out of their own way, I think they'd be fantastic. And I read a review, and I think I'm going to paraphrase it, so because I can't remember exactly what they said, but I think it encompasses why I respect but am frustrated with this band. They are kind of but not sort of They Might Be Giants.
Yeah.
That's it. Where they are quirky and they're the two of them, and they don't have the bleakness that They Might Be Giants can hit by packaging all their sadness up in the catchiest fucking songs ever. But I could see the attempt and I could appreciate the art. But when they go wrong and make poor decisions, that's when the producer failed. They should have reined that shit in. So, and they didn't, and they let him go. But you know what? When it's on, it's actually pretty good. But when it's off, I fucking want to punch a nut in the face.
I was going to make that They Might Be Giants comparison as well.
Yeah, they are kind of, but not. They are kind of, sort of, but not really. They Might Be Giants. I think that's the most perfect accurate I could put to them. It's just, it is that. It's they're quirky and they're funny, but
yeah,
big difference.
So what was this thing that you guys tried to show?
Oh, this on the Hard Times. It was pretty. It made me fucking laugh. Go ahead.
Yes.
It's my gift to you guys. So
yeah. Bill said that to me like a few days ago, and I was like, "Oh, I need to bring this up."
That's the second funniest music meme I've sent you in recent time. The other one was the Charlie XCX one. You still haven't fully recovered from that. So
no, I haven't.
That was brutality.
So I have one question before we get into ratings and whatnot.
Okay.
The people that are saying that they don't love Stephen Page's voice, the voice that I always compare him to is Patrick Stump. Patrick Stump kind of does the same thing. And my question is, how do you guys feel about Patrick Stump's voice then?
Who's that?
Yeah, I was gonna ask.
That is
Fall Out Boy.
Lead singer of Fall Out Boy.
Well, I don't like Fall Out Boy, so that ought to tell you something.
I don't love Fall Out Boy. They're not one of my favorites.
I don't love him either.
Oh, well, that makes a lot of sense now.
Yeah, me either.
That dude's voice curdles my shit. Like, I hate it.
Like, I know they came up around the same time as My Chemical Romance, and I prefer Gerard Way's voice way more than Patrick Stump's.
Yeah.
Funny enough, Gerard Way, one of his favorite bands, Jawbreaker. You're welcome. Heads up for that.
All right, let's go into scores and all that jazz. Brooklyn.
All right, so I think 9 is not egregious.
That shit has to be so full of smoke.
Listen, the last time I threw on some Canadiana legend stuff like Tricycle Hip stuff, I gave it a 10, and then my heart got broken. It was like,
yeah, we all hated that one. Actually, we all pretty much.
It's a little dated. There are some moments that have not aged super. We'll get into least favorite first. Mine would probably be In the Car. I think the guitar lick on that is just fine, and that's the one that I notice the most lyrically. Has kind of aged, not super. In terms of favorite, She's on Time is going to be a very close to honorable mention, along with some fantastic. But Alcohol is one of my favorite Barenaked Lady songs ever. The bridge in that particular, I thought that Alcohol was just for those with nothing else to do. I thought that drinking just to get drunk was just a waste of precious booze. But now I know that there is a time and there is a place where I can choose to walk the fine line between self-control and self-abuse. And then that piano comes in, and it's just so fucking fun. But yeah, that's it. Let's continue to break 10-year-old Brooklyn's heart.
That's fine. Will get me out of the way. It's a 5. It is. This is absolute middle of the road for me. I don't love it. I don't hate it. There's parts that I love. We all know what the worst song is.
Well, I want to say favorite at the same time, just to see if we are like in alignment with this one.
Okay.
Okay. 3,
2, 1. Long way back home. What did you say?
I said call and answer.
Oh no, thank you. So it's Long Way Back Home. I'm sorry. That song is gorgeous. And it's like one of those things where I'm like, okay, fucking just let him steer the ship. Let this guy do it. He's got it. This is it. It's so good. That is such a great song. So
it's one of the rare moments that I'm like, oh yeah, slide guitar definitely works for a Barenaked Lady. Yeah.
Slide guitars and flutes just should be in more songs. That's all I'm saying. So also 12 strings.
I'll go next since I kind of spoiled my favorite song. I think Call and Answer is absolutely gorgeous. And it's, as I said, I don't understand why fans of this band don't talk about that song more. Like that like the swell in that, just lyrically, it's beautiful.
So of the Barenaked Lady songs that my dad and I play, or in particular the ones that Dad showed me growing up, Call and Answer was one of them. That is a very fun one to play.
Yeah, it's not only fun, but it's like sentimental and it's grounded and it's like genuinely like after the first listen, I'm like, where the fuck did that come from? Barenaked fucking Ladies? So yeah. So my score, you know what? I'm gonna give my least. I already said my least favorite song because fuck that recorder and Who Needs Sleep. I'm giving it a 7.4.
Okay, that's not terrible.
Like there are good moments, and then there are moments where I'm like, this is why they wrote so many TV theme songs.
I mean, thanks to the Big Bang Theory, they never have to work ever again.
True,
Yeah.
very true.
That and they did the theme for
King of the Hill.
what's that?
No,
King
that
of
was the
Hill,
refreshments.
but also
Baby
Phineas and
Blues.
Ferb.
They did no. That's Bowling for Soup.
Is
Yeah.
that-
Nope,
oh,
that
that
was
is Bowling for Soup.
Bowling for Soup.
Were you hanging out in the shed?
Yeah. Here's another one, and I can't remember it now. But
It's who comes along just to win.
Just so you know, that joke's never going away now. Now we know what that means.
Melissa.
I'm very sorry, Brooklyn, but my least favorite was Alcohol by far. Like, I hated that song so much. Also, like, what?
I think Melissa and I were looking at each other as you were going through everything, just like, no, oh god, okay.
There's an instrument, like you called the recorder in the other song. There's an instrument in that song that I don't like. I don't know what it is, but I don't like it. I was like, ew, I hate this.
I'll look that up now. Yeah.
Yeah. So really didn't like that one. Best. I mean, I like 1 week. I'm sorry, Bill.
That's fine. You didn't live through it.
I mean, I did.
No, you did not. I had to play
everywhere.
Afternoons and evenings around the fucking 20 minutes I didn't have to hear that goddamn song.
So you would have to do it 1 week at a time?
I'll fucking drive down there and put boots to ass if you ever say that to me again.
But I also really did like Leave, so I'll say that one too. But okay.
Leave is okay. Yeah, Leave's good.
Rating 5.6.
Okay, so I'm gonna say my rating first. I'm gonna give a proposition to Brooklyn. So my initial rating right now is a 6.5. I am willing to raise it if you want me to raise it, Brooklyn, but you must reap the consequences. Brooklyn, yes or no? Do you want me to raise the score?
No.
Don't do it.
No.
Okay.
No.
What were the consequences, if I could just ask that first?
Yeah.
In honor of the Barenaked ladies, I was going to give it a 6.9 because nice, but Brooklyn said no, so I'm going to keep it on 6.5.
Yeah, I would have. What are we doing here, guys? I need a minute.
Okay. My favorite song was Light Up My Room. I think that was actually a really fun song that happens pretty early on in the album, so I wasn't super burnt out by that point. Again, I'm sorry, Brooklyn. I thought She's on Time was a borderline war crime, and I just couldn't that. To me was
illegal under maritime law.
That was my breaking point of I can't do this. I want to like them. I want to give them a shot. I know you really enjoy them, but there's just something missing there, and I just thought that to me was it reminded me, and granted, I like this album more than Stunt. It reminded me of the worst parts of Pinkerton, where I just think Pinkerton just gets a little too cringy at points, and this was that times 10.
Yeah.
Okay.
Damn.
Pinkerton is very good. Pinkerton is a very good album, but there are some songs where I'm like, oof.
I think I know one of the songs you're talking about. That's on Brooklyn's Top 500.
Yeah. Anyways, so it gets an average score of 6.7. There was a minor goal. Yeah. It beat out. It's one album ahead of Nickelback. So yay.
What is Canada?
This is way better than anything. I will give what just happened?
And I already know the answer.
If it makes
a
you- if it-
Nickelback record.
Another Canadian friend of Brooklyn.
And a Canadian friend of mine. Yeah.
All right.
If it makes you guys feel any better, the bottom 4 albums from this season are all from me, and they're all Canadian albums. Actually, no, sorry, not Dark Horse. Dark Horse was Robbie Doherty, but yeah.
I'm sorry, Brooklyn.
Sorry,
that's fine. I've learned that Canadian nostalgia doesn't do well here.
Brooklyn, here's the thing. I'm going to build you up real fast. You are one of the smartest people I know when it comes to music.
Mm-hmm.
So, that genuinely does confuse me. So, much respect to you. You're way smarter about music than I am. It's not even close. All right. Payson, let's close this out. Tell us more about Speaking in Tongues.
Yeah, so I brought Speaking in Tongues by Talking Heads. Just to give a little bit of history, I was introduced to Talking Heads through my first love, that being movies. There was a series of podcasts called Blank Check. They cover a lot of directors, and they were doing the films of Jonathan Demme. And Jonathan Demme, back in the 80s, directed a concert film about the Talking Heads called Stop Making Sense. So I was just in my group watching this, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch this concert film. I've heard solid things about it. Not really familiar with the band. I've heard a couple of their songs. Let's give this a try to see what it is. I watched it. It's less than 90 minutes, and I immediately became obsessed with it. Just the way how this concert film is presented. I know I'm reviewing this album, not the film, but just how it escalates through the song choices. How it starts out with David Byrne just playing Psycho Killer. It crescendos the entire band being on stage when they're doing Burning Down the House, and they just keep performing all their songs. The concert for Stop Making Sense was made in promotion for this album. So watching that, I was like, okay, I am now a Talking Heads fan. I want to get more into their music, and I've never really done that with a musical artist before. So I listened to all their albums, and personally, this is the one that I think is the best. It starts out in such an electric way with Burning Down the House. I feel like one of their more popular songs. goes into some really fun angles with making Flip Floppy and Girlfriend is Better. I absolutely love Girlfriend is Better. I think one of the better like hooks I think I've ever heard for a song. Slippery People, I Get Wild, a swamp. It slows down a little, becomes this really like weird, like grimy sound. Then we go to Moon Rocks, Pull Up the Roots, and then it ends with probably maybe my favorite album closer of all time with This Must Be the Place. Just really like sweet, like really quirky, and like just seems like it's from another world. Like I just think the sound, like David Byrne, I just think is just like a genius, and so are all the other band members, Tina Weymon, Chris Franz, and Jerry Weintraub.
I'll double check that.
Okay.
But go ahead.
I was pulling that from memory, but yeah, just how all just the sounds.
Jerry Harrison.
I think it was. I know Jerry Weintraub as a person. Just all the sounds their music makes. Like I'm not like super familiar with new wave, but this makes me feel like I would really love new wave. I just love the sounds of like what this like what this sounds like. It's just super weird, super cool, and I just love the vibe it puts out. Yeah, I really love this album. I know when most people talk about the best Talking Heads albums, they usually talk about either Remain in Light or Speaking in Tongues. I prefer Speaking in Tongues, which is why I brought it. But yeah, excited to hear what you guys think.
I think that. Oh, go ahead. You first. I talk first a lot.
Sure. Yeah, I'll go first.
Oh, it was you. Oh, I wasn't paying attention. I wasn't paying attention. I heard a voice. I saw Melissa move, and I was like, "All right, it's Melissa." Go ahead, please. Save me. Fuck you. Okay.
All right, fine. So, I appreciate the Talking Heads. I've never been the biggest Talking Heads fan. So, there's definitely really good Talking Heads albums. There's definitely ones I'm like, I could probably not hear that again. I mean, and then there's perfect albums that they put out, like, more songs about buildings and food, which I think is fucking, that's it. And then everything else is close second, probably. That being said, this is definitely upper echelon Talking Heads for me. I think they're one of the few bands that like somehow, and I heard like that when they moved away from working with other producers and just produced themselves, they somehow got more polished. And I don't know how that kind of worked out, but I just think it really did. And I think that has a lot to do with, oh my God, I forget everybody's name right now. David Byrne. You could definitely like hear in this one, he's really into his creative process a lot. And it kind of comes through a lot of the instrumentation. The songs are catchy. Perfect choice to start with, like one of the best pop songs of the 80s to open this album out. I mean, it's fucking banger for a reason. Gets a little odd somewhere in a few of the songs in the middle, and then just immediately closes out. And yeah, that's how you pull off a really good album. So, and I really enjoy like going back. I haven't listened to this one in years, so I was pleasantly surprised. I was like, yeah, I forgot how much fun David Byrne can be. He's weird. He's very weird. But I think that makes for like some fantastic music. So I won't go too into it, and I won't spoil the song I hated from this, because there's one I was like, wow.
Oh, I bet I know.
This one's grating on me this time around. So okay, but yeah, that hasn't been said.
Yeah. There is a clear least favorite for me, so we'll see if we're in.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Okay, I'll go next.
Yeah, there you go.
Also, I messaged you my guess as to what song that is you were talking about, Bill. So Talking Heads is my favorite band of all time. So this is a great album, but it's got one problem. And it's not even the album's fault. It's that Stop Making Sense exists. Because the live version of all of these songs from this album I think are better.
I get it.
And like,
I would agree.
and once again, that's not the album's fault.
This is that movie you guys are talking about.
Yeah,
Should I
Yeah.
watch this movie?
Yes,
100%.
it's so good.
I've seen one concert film in my entire life.
Bill, there's one scene in particular where it's just like close-ups of a bunch of the singers' faces as like a light just like going over them. That's absolutely incredible. And it feels sort of like an A24 horror film in a sense. So unfortunately, as much as I don't want it to affect my overall rating of this album, it kind of does, because I know what these songs can be. That's not to say that they're not great, because they absolutely are. As Bill said, Burning Down the House is one of the best songs of the 80s. I think Swamp is like a really good ZZ Top-esque kind of song.
It's really fun.
This Must Be the Place, Brooklyn and I both had on our top 500 songs of all time. It ranked really freaking high, too. Until Cody decided he didn't want that song on the list and used one of his vetoes on it.
Yeah, he just hates incredible bass lines.
You guys were the right. You guys were on the right trajectory that night.
Thank you. I will say I think that there is a reason that they left Moon Rocks and Pull Up the Roots off of Stop Making Sense, because I think they are the two weaker songs from the album. So there's a lot of great songs on here. It's just the biggest flaw of the album to me is not even the album's fault.
Melissa, you go next. I'll go last.
Okay. Yeah. I love the Talking Heads so much. I'm the person who's always talking about Pink Floyd. Pink Floyd is my favorite band, which is true. But Talking Heads is like up there for me. Yeah. I like Swamp specifically, core childhood memory. So like that one like really holds a special place in my heart. But yeah, no, I grew up with this album, so it feels very nostalgic to me. Yeah, I love the music. It's like 80s dance rock, cool vibe music. I feel like Talking Heads is like very effortlessly cool, but then they also have like this like nervous energy too, which I just like gravitate towards because same. Yeah, no, I absolutely love this album. I don't really have any criticisms for me.
Yeah, so like Andrew was talking about, we've discussed parts of this album previously on the top 500. This and Burning Down the House. Did anybody else listen to the deluxe version?
No.
I did not.
No. Okay, so fun fact, on the deluxe version, you get Two Note Swivel, an unfinished outtake, which is a song right up my alley, because it is a jammy jam song. It's an instrumental, and you can tell they're having a lot of fun with it. But then you also have the alternate version of Burning Down the House, which is actually the one that they play on radio. It's more... It's easier, I guess, for radio hosts to kind of talk over it, and then you get that big drum fill that gets right into the song. I do appreciate the original intro of Burning Down the House. I think it's a nice softer sort of touch to it with like with the guitar and whatnot. So I guess a peek behind the curtain, I guess, for Payson as to how I ingest these albums. So the first time I listen to these albums, I'm usually like on a walk, or I'm playing with my dog at the park. The second time, I usually throw them on the TV with lyrics to try to get a sense of like what kind of stories they're trying to pick up. And I also listen to it for different hearing purposes, because with the headphones, I find I'm paying attention more to bass and drums, whereas when I'm just having on TV, I'm focusing more on like melody and like lead guitar sort of stuff. If you were to give this album to a person for the first time, and they said this kind of sounds a lot of the same, I could see the point that they were coming from. It wasn't until the second and ultimately the third time that I went through this that all the little nuances are there that kind of separate these songs. Girlfriend is Better is really good. I know that one is done incredibly on the live version. I still enjoyed that. Slippery People is the song that has been stuck in my head the most. Like Melissa was saying, it is the most effortless that they sound. They sound incredibly comfortable. That tempo is just kind of like Goldilocks pace. It's not too fast. It's not too slow. And I just love the call and answer of it. I've talked about it before, but This Must Be the Place is just fucking incredible. It's one of my favorite bass lines ever. Tina Weymouth, just how she executes that bass line, and she's not playing it straight. She's playing it with a bit of a swing, and it does such a good job holding that beat with the backing synths before like that main melody line comes in, and it just keeps the momentum of that song going. One little thing that I kind of discovered on this, I Get Wild / Wild Gravity. You know who I bet loved that song, or I think is kind of like in the vein, or I would love to see them cover it, is Prince. I feel like Prince either really digs that song or could do like an interesting kind of cover of it.
Well, you're never going to hear them cover it. So...
Well, obviously, but yeah, just it was an interesting kind of parallel. I didn't mind Pull Up the Roots. I thought it was good. Making Flippy Floppy is kind of all right. And then yeah, I'll get to favorites and least favorites after. But yeah, this is a better time the more that you listen to it.
Okay, so Payson, give us your score, favorite, least favorite.
Yeah, I'm gonna rate with my heart. This is one of my favorite albums. I'm going to give it a 10. I don't think it's flawless, but I just can't deny that the highs of this album are so high for me. This Must Be the Place. It like when people ask me what my favorite song of all time is, they're like 5 answers I usually go through, and this is one of them. I just think it's one of the most like beautiful songs like ever, and just how it starts, just the I just love that sound so much. Now, Bar did have me thinking that, like, yeah, when I do listen to the song by itself, I do miss how it ends and stop making sense, where it ends with David Byrne going like, ooh, and I do love that, and that performance is just so good. But I do still love listening to the album versions of these songs. My least favorite song is probably Moon Rocks. It's the only one where like I'm like, okay, this is a fine song. It's not like incredible for me, but like other than that, I think it's just nothing but hits. And even then, I don't really dislike the album, the song. Obviously. Oh, and one quick thing. I mistake Jerry Harrison for Jerry Weintraub. Jerry Weintraub was the producer of such films such as Nashville, The Karate Kid, and Ocean's 11. So I will say, Harrison, I'm sorry for mistaking you, but you came up better than Bjork did tonight for me. So.
All right, I'll go next with this one. This might be my 3rd or 4th favorite Talking Heads album. I prefer Fear of Music and Remain in Light. And this is going to sound so weird, I know, but I may even like Naked better, their final album. Oh, and more songs about building and food.
I was about to say, what the fuck, dude?
I'm so sorry. Yeah.
That is it. That's the best one.
But it's still a great album. I'm giving it an 8.25. This Must Be the Place, Naive Melody. One of the greatest songs ever made. I also agree, Moon Rocks. That's my least favorite one. It's not that it's bad. It's just that it's not as strong as the other songs are. Let's go to Melissa next.
I'm giving this a 10. Sorry. I love this. I think it's great. Yeah, like it's weird. It's like it's not flawless, but it's like flawless to me. I don't know. I also echo what's been said. Least favorite is also Moon Rocks. And favorite is This Must Be the Place. Home is where I want to be. Pick me up and turn me round. Yes.
Give us some space for a minute or two.
Bill.
I'm gonna give it a B. Figure out how to put that in your little spreadsheet. How about that? I'm tired of your fuck numbers, whatever these ratings are. This is a B. This is a B plus album. How about that? There you go. B plus. Write that down.
We don't have the letter system in Canada. We just use Timbits.
Yeah, because you guys use fucking metric.
So Brooklyn, I will help you out. B plus is an 8.7 to an 8.9. So
It's an 8.
So it's
It's an 8. We round to a number. We're going 8. This album's an 8. It's really good. I, like everybody else, have the same favorite because that song is just fucking great. And oh my god, Jesus, This Must Be the Place is so good. Bar, you are incorrect. My least favorite was not Swamp. My least favorite is I Get Wild. And I don't know why. That song just gets on my goddamn nerves. Something about it. Also, for nobody asking, the only concert film I've ever seen, to the surprise of absolutely nobody.
Jawbreaker one?
Well, no, that's a
Oh,
documentary.
it's a documentary. Look,
Yeah.
Bill, I've been off my game all day today, okay?
I noticed this. So I'm going to help you out by finishing my sentence. How about that? So
I'm just going to mute myself.
that's fine.
Reset.
Which will come as no surprise to anybody. But the only concert film I've ever seen in life is Big Time by Tom Waits. And if you haven't seen it, what are you doing with your life? Because that shit is glorious. So I cannot put into words just how batshit insane that is. So it's on streaming, I think, right now.
Okay.
Bar, we'll go to you, and then I'll double check that because it was out of print for a little while. So you go ahead. What are you doing? What's your numbers?
Bill, I already did this.
Well, then I forgot who didn't go.
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn. There you go.
Yeah. So this gets an ace. So it gets an average score of 8.85. It is the top 5 album. Just
I got
shy.
knocked out of the top 5.
No,
real quick,
you're
didn't I?
no. You're above it. 24-hour revenge therapy is 8.9. Speaking in tongues is an 8.85. What's the oh, it's Encore. It's the Pokemon move. Yeah, that's This Must Be the Place is my favorite song. Shocker. My least favorite though is Swamp. And here's my reason why. It doesn't. It's not slow enough. It kills the momentum that the album is building.
so much.
And it's like if it goes just like a little bit slower to kind of break up the album a little bit, I think I would enjoy it more. But it's still trying to have that like typical Talking Head sound. But it needs like I think that was your opportunity to be like not quite a ballad, but something different.
Mr. Producer Man, can you take care of that? Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry. Did he say it wasn't slow enough? Well, they can't all be call and answer. So.
Okay. So let's wrap this up by picking a favorite album that someone else brought to the table. I'm going to start. It's Post. This is the one I gave a 10 to. There wasn't a bad album brought today, but it's a 10 out of 10 is usually going to be the best one, in my opinion. Let's go to Melissa next.
Well, I gave a 10 to Speaking in Tongues, but I will say I think I'm going to give it to 24-Hour Revenge Therapy just because that was my favorite that was new to me. Because I had heard that one before. So I'll say that one.
Bill, let's go to you.
So Stunt is not it.
Shocker!
I
What?
love you.
No?
I love you.
Man.
You're
it's okay.
You're the
You
best
guys-
kind of people. I
You
just
are.
want you to know that You're a good sport. I'm gonna bring an album you're all gonna fucking take a dump on one day. It'll be fine. But out of all of these, yeah, I think rediscovering Post, that was a joy because I haven't listened to that album in like probably 20 years. So.
Okay. Ooh, so okay, could be interesting. You know what? Let's go to Payson next.
You know, Bar, I was gonna give it to Post, but then Melissa didn't give me for speaking in tongues, so I think I'm still gonna give it to Post. Post fucking rules. Like, what are we doing? Like, that was just incredible. Like, throughout the entire thing. Like, thank you, Melissa, for everything.
Yes.
Okay. Brooklyn.
So yeah, as soon as Andrew said what his favorite album of the show was, I already had it bolded. And when an album is bolded, that means that it is unanimously picked as the favorite album of that show. It's Post. It can't not be Post.
This is only the third time this has happened in the series, so we're putting Post into the Turntable Hall of Fame, right up there with Beloved Paradise Jazz by McKinley Dixon and Just Listen by Music Soul Child. So congratulations to Bjork. This is probably the biggest achievement you've ever had in your life.
You sure about that?
Yeah.
Yes.
That was me.
100%. Yes. No, I don't. But thank you guys so much for coming. We do have the panel and the albums for the next episode. Our panel is going to include Adelaide Spence, Amaru Moses, and Jeff Barry. And so the albums that we have for next episode.
Hold on, wait. Go ahead.
Okay. So we have Honest Man by Matt Anderson, Preacher's Daughter by Ethel Cain, The Forever Story by Jid, Sex, Death, and the Infinite Void by Creeper, and Holy Wood by Marilyn Manson. Thanks,
Okay.
Jeff.
Here's okay. I have heard of exactly one of those artists, and I don't like it.
You and Melissa have listened to a Matt Anderson song before. I don't think a lot of you liked it though.
All of these except for fucking Hollywood have popped up in our music league before. So
none of those names sound familiar, but I'm old and confused. So,
but Bill, Melissa, Payson, thank you so much for joining us. We love having you on. Brooklyn, any last thoughts before we wrap this one up?
I don't care what you guys say. Barenaked Ladies is great.
All right. Well, with that, join us next month.
Do you know what words mean?
Me fail English? That's impossible.
Keep on rocking.
Sure.